Let me preface this story by stating this is one of the weirder experiences in my life because it's a shared one. I'm open to any natural explanations as I'm thinking it might be some shared psychological experience. This is the best explanation I could come up with. Anyway, here's the story. In Meriden, Connecticut, about 10 minutes outside of where I live, there exists a range of mountainous trap rock ridges called hanging hills. The easiest way to get to them is to park in a wooded, mountainous park called Hubbard Park and take a trail that starts with a slightly intimidating passenger bridge that crosses over the highway. I am afraid of heights but always try to challenge myself by going hiking and putting myself in slightly uncomfortable situations to overcome my fears. In the spring of 2014, my wife, girlfriend at the time, and I decided to take our umpteenth hike up hanging hills to see Castle Craig, a stone tower that stood at the end of the main trail and overlooked the cliffs, the city of Meriden and Quinnipiac Valley. For the umpteenth time, we launched into a discussion on the drive there about the legend of the Black Dog. I find ghost stories that have any shred of historical reality to them intriguing because most representations of ghosts on TV or social media these days involve people becoming easily scared by shaking or noises in an abandoned location. The legend of the Black Dog is an exception because it involves the legend itself and a story of two geologists from the late 1800s encountering it and actually documenting it. The legend has that you see the Black Dog of Hanging Hills once for joy, twice for sorrow and 3 times for death. There are plenty of legends of black dogs in folklore that tell a similar tale. The two geologists, W.H.C. Pynchon and Herbert Marshall, were conducting research of the area in the winter of 1891 when they encountered the Black Dog. According to the story, Pynchon had seen it once and Herbert twice before. Herbert didn't believe in the legend. After ascending the hills again alone, Herbert supposedly fell to his death. I remembered the image of the Black Dog from W.H.C. Pynchon's story very clearly every time we hiked up the mountain. This time was no different. That particular day, my girlfriend and I encountered a hiker on the trail that was letting his black dog without a collar roam loose. We weren't sure whether it was to mess with people or not. The dog wasn't little like the one depicted in Pynchon's story. Rather, it was bigger like a lab terrier mix and friendly too. It came up to us and started panting at our legs. "Sorry about that," the hiker said as he caught up to the dog and us. "Not at all. I bet you love having a little legend with you around here." "Oh yeah, the ghost dog," the hiker said, forcing a laugh and grimacing as if he had heard that one too many times before. As he walked away, my girlfriend made a comment about my obsession with the stupid dog and not wanting to hear about it. We made our way to Castle Craig about 20 minutes later. Unlike the trails off the highway, the main trail from the park is not long or difficult other than a large hill at the end of it. We took pictures on top of the tower and by the cliffside, not really thinking any more about the Black Dog. We had made so many trips up to the tower and seen so many hikers with black dogs that the legend almost seemed like a joke at that point. "Want to take the main trail down or the road?" I asked as we finished up taking pictures and drinking whatever water and Gatorade we had left in our packs. "The road," she insisted. "We can see that river." The road leading up to Castle Craig is typically taken by cars and bikers. We sometimes hike down it to catch a glimpse of the Quinnipiac River on the way back to the park. Despite it being a warm April day, there were very few cars and bikers on the way down. It was nice and quiet. About a quarter of a mile into our walk, my girlfriend tugged me on the shoulder and pointed to a figure on the side of the road between some shrubbery. It stood about 10 feet ahead of us. "What the hell is that?" she said. I took a step forward but she tugged on my shirt and shook her head. "Is that what I dash?" I nodded. All I could do was nod. The figure was small and resembled a black dog with floppy ears and a hot dog tail, much like the one in Pynchon's illustration. I wouldn't have thought much of it if not for the fact the figure was blurry. It wasn't the distance between us that made it blurry, and there weren't any fog-related conditions that day. It was almost as if Mother Nature had taken the dog in a Photoshop program and used the blur effect on it. Even when I took a step closer, to my girlfriend's hesitance, it still looked blurry. We were frozen otherwise though, and didn't think to take a picture of the figure. There was an unknowing understanding between us that we shouldn't approach and just wait for it to cross. As the figure crossed the road, it didn't look at us. It just dawdled with its nose to the ground. For the rest of the hike, we were silent. We both knew what we saw but couldn't put it into words. It was only after a while that I said I should have taken a picture, but deep down, I felt it was a good thing that I didn't. Seeing the figure wasn't frightening, but it wasn't pleasant either. We have been back to Hanging Hills many times since. We never encountered any luck or sorrow, just a memory of a little blurry black dog and an understanding that when you see an actual paranormal entity with someone else and understand what it is, there isn't really a question about it. I've read many stories posted online since about the black dog. Few have described what we saw though. Black dogs run loose in the park all the time, and a number of the encounter we read about seem like fabrications or just encounters with stray dogs. If you live in the area or have a similar story, I'd be very interested in hearing yours as well. I haven't met or spoken with a person who has had a similar experience. I also haven't been able to objectively rule out what I saw. I'm open to any scientific explanations on collectively seeing blurry figures in a shared experience. It would be disappointing but interesting to know about a more logical explanation too. Having heavy symptoms today and convinced Elon Musk can read my mind and is communicating with me through songs. Hell. I see the reactions of this opening ceremony and couldn't agree more that it is one of the more ominous things we've seen recently. People are saying that it's a warning of things to come, and that revelation is being fulfilled. While I believe it is, I also believe this could be interpreted in such a way. Hear me out, people. These celebrities and public figures don't even care to hide it anymore and want it in your face more than ever for some reason. There are many theories out there as to why, but here's one that crossed my mind. Maybe some of you can roll with this. This is their last hurrah, their last big celebration of being in control. It's their apocalypse, not ours. Their end of the world of control, or our world as we've known it. I believe this is it for this negative shit we've been living with. They may try to mock Christianity and such, but if they go to such lengths to celebrate and worship some devil-ass bitch, then maybe there is something to the other side. All I can say is it raises a lot of suspicions, and there is definitely more to what's going on right now than just some ceremony and such. One evening, I was having a burger with a friend at the station, which was empty, when we saw a girl walking towards us. She was talking to herself as if conversing with someone. She said, "Oh, look at them, they are eating." She approached us and started asking questions, our names, what we were doing, etc. She seemed a bit weird already because of her look, and also she was a few times mentioning the moon, but we ignored it. But then, she looked straight into my eyes and said I am the same like her. When I asked what she meant, she told me to look up at the moon to find out. We were scared, and she seemed to enjoy it, laughing maliciously. When I say enjoy, I really mean it. It made her so happy that we stand up from our place and step away. Her eyes were especially unsettling brown with very small pupils, despite it being nighttime. Her hair was cut very short, around 5 to 6 millimeters, and her teeth seemed a bit sharp. After talking to us, she walked away, speaking nonsense and appearing confused, mentioning her boyfriend was Arab, among other things. I got answers that probably she has mental problems, etc., but I don't believe that. I believe she had something inside her. I know the story doesn't sound scary, but it was scarier to actually see it. I am trying to figure out, what could be her religion? Why does she mention the moon, and why did she say I am the same like her? A couple years ago I was having a sleepless night. At like 11:30ish my dog who was in my room with me began to bark toward the corner of my room. I tried to calm her down but she wouldn't, and as an attempt to distract her I said the magic word outside. She ran to the back door and I followed. As I was waiting for her at the back door I could hear someone calling my name from outside. I went outside and saw nothing and I didn't recognize the voice. I went to my mom's room, which is right by the back door, to ask if she was calling for me, and I unintentionally woke her up and she said she didn't. I was a little spooked and decided to go to the bathroom myself after my dog came back in. Around the time this happened there was this trend on TikTok where a certain filter that detected movement could supposedly see ghosts. I always thought it was bullshit, but as I was sitting I decided to pull up the filter and look around the bathroom. I waved it around a few times and saw nothing. I kept my phone on and in my non-dominant hand, and as I whipped my phone shifted to where it was looking to the side, and in the side of my vision I briefly saw a shape of a person on my phone screen. I immediately pointed my phone again and there was nothing. I still think most the videos with that filter are crap, but that really scared me. In the night I experience waking up and seeing a man by my door. They don't enter my room, however stare at me. They look like a frozen image, slightly blurry, however can move their faces and smile Cheshire cat-like. They look as if they analyze me. I can yell and kick my legs and my eyes are open. I can also grab my phone. Each time this happens it's a different man. One was on his knees by the side of my bed staring at me once, and another time one leaned over me almost lunging at me. However, most stay by my door. I also experienced hearing my front door open and shut and someone run up my stairs, which I assumed was my daughter coming home from school. However, nobody was in the house. Does anyone experience this? Or because it's not sleep paralysis, I'm sure, and it's not monsters, it's men, I do not know. They have individual outfits and faces. Just wanted to say I have been dealing with aliens for quite a few years. I used to think they were just evil people, but just recently have proven without a shadow of a doubt that they are not of this world. They can pretend to be anything and anyone. It took me 28 years to come to this conclusion, and seeing me levitate and turn upside down, and my vehicle levitates sometimes, it is quite amazing and scary at the same time. They abuse me physically and mentally and can manipulate any electronic device. I know now, but where do I go from here? I guess that's the question. I feel empty and need more. Like, why me, and will this last forever? I really want my life back, but I don't think that's their agenda. I guess we will see. Remember folks, if you record something, look at it closely and not just what we think is normal. These things know what we're used to seeing and will be exactly what we need to see to make us feel normal or feel like we're in reality. Anyway, I am confused on what to do next. Would someone please respond and just help me out with advice? I have contacted MUFON and made a report, and these things have stopped all communication with them. I leave messages and they never call or text me back, and the lady I did the interview with in the beginning said she would help me out to deal with this. Please help. This big club of elites have become more and more blatant in their mockery of God in the media. Has anyone actually asked what the artistic merit of having drag queens performing the Last Supper was? What does it have to do with France? All this satanic imagery in the music industry as well, it's just odd. There's no point in it except the obvious. I think these so-called elite are supposed to be steering us off the path to God. I'm a 38-year-old gay man that has always classed myself an atheist. But this last 4 years have really woken me up to what is going on. I really do believe the big club is worshipping Satan. Too much to say otherwise. If those that are supposedly enlightened believe in the devil, then surely God is real too. If that's the case, then what is earth? Are we put here to be corrupted by sin? The greatest thing the devil ever did was convince people he's not real. A relationship with God relies on faith in Him being real. We're taught all our lives through MS media and social media that the Bible and God are just fairy stories. They scoff at it. Look at the blatant mockery in the Olympics. Most concerts these days and their artists are all mocking God and using satanic imagery. What if this world is a trap to corrupt our souls so we go to hell in the afterlife? Or what if we're just continually reincarnated onto this planet, in a loop, over and over and over, and the big group is designed to keep us here? The point isn't to kill, it's to trap.
Like, share, subscribe and be sure to check the notification bell. Follow the Atomic Shaman on Twitter at Motel and RV Park. Listen to Paranormal Green Text Stories on Atomic Shaman TTS on YouTube. Catch the live streams of Atomic Shaman Sweat Lodge only on Rumble.